Welcome again to another episode of Sneaks Rounds in Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So super exciting guest, recently connected with her on Instagram. So her real name is Romessa. She goes by 5'6" Sneaker Chick. So Romessa, what's good? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm so glad we were able to connect on Instagram over the last couple of weeks, and then you've now ended up on the podcast. You have some amazing stuff that you've posted online. So maybe you can kind of tell us a little bit about your sneaker style and I guess how you got started collecting sneakers.
Thank you. So I recently just got into sneakers about 18 months ago, right when the pandemic hit. I was actually gifted the Hyper Grape Royal, the OG 90s for my birthday. And I was like, what is this sorcery? Like, what is this shoe? To me, it was a completely different world. Got into shoes that way and slowly just started building my collection. One of the shoes actually that really got my eye, I'm actually going to pull it out right now because this is
Oh,
like
go for it.
the story. The
Saw the
story.
box. I saw the box.
The box. The DMPs. This to me was when I actually had to, first time ever, I gotta get it out. I actually set my alarm and was like, this is the shoe that I want. Like, it's so pretty to me. I'm like black and gold. And I didn't even know the story behind it. And then when I learned about when it was released and how it was to celebrate Jordan's like 3 back-to-back wins back in the 90s, and it was released in 2006 and they were re-releasing it, I was like, okay, so this shoe has some story to it. And I loved it. And I didn't end up getting it that morning after all that said and done, stayed up all night. Didn't get it, but I was lucky enough that a friend of mine knew I wanted it and was able to cop it for me. And
All
then
right.
after that, I was like kind of hooked. And like, I got that little taste of that high, and I was like, ooh, now I want to get another one, another one.
Yeah, that high is something special. So that is a special shoe. And it's funny that you pulled that out. Like, I think we were sharing early before we started recording, just a sneaker story and where you've gone. Like, I remember I went to Detroit to buy that shoe in 2006, like the OG one, the
DMP
lined up,
first.
lined up overnight in a parking lot. And yeah, that's a long story. I'll tell you another time. As we move on, I know that as we were been talking before, and this is for the listeners, whether you're listening on whether it's Spotify or you're listening on Apple, and some people now gravitated to watching it on YouTube. So this is being recorded virtual. Hit the subscribe button so that way you can follow. You've mentioned before that you're a teacher. So I think that like sneakers and teachers have become a thing recently in sneaker world. So
Yeah.
what does it look like at school? Like, do your fellow teachers comment on what you wear?
Oh, all the time.
What did the students say? I'm so curious.
Yeah, so just this year we went back to in-person teaching, and I was like, oh, you have to wear a mask all day, you have to social distance, and I wanted a way to like connect with my students again. I'm like, I'm gonna do it through my sneakers. Every day I'm gonna wear a different pair of sneakers to school, and I've done that so far. And slowly the kids started noticing, like, oh, Miss Raj, you got a new pair of kicks on, fly kicks. And then the teachers are like, I like your shoes. Is that a different pair? And it just became like a little thing. So now every day, kids will come by this classroom like, Miss Raj, what are you wearing? They're in the same color, like, oh, I got pink on today too, or I'm also wearing red, or I got Jordans on. So it became a little bit of a conversation starter, which was really nice to reconnect with both staff and students. And then I do parking duty after school, like helping kids like cross every day. And now the parents have noticed my sneakers, and now the parents are also commenting. There's a few sneakerhead parents that like walk by like, oh, I like your kicks today, or nice dunks on, or whatever the case may be. So honestly, it's been a really nice and refreshing way to like connect with everyone, just through shoes, just after everything we've been through the pandemic. It's been really nice.
Totally. Again, it's something that, unlike many things in the world, sneakers actually talk. And like literally it can be a conversation starter. And I think the age-old sneaker thing is that we make sneaker contact before we make eye contact. So
completely, it's like, what are they wearing on their feet first? Like, oh, that's what they got on.
But I think it's so cute and so interesting that your students are actually coming to you to check out what you have on. And I'm sure whether it's Jordans or Air Max, I think those are some of the things that I've seen you wear, that it's really becoming a a way that you're able to connect. And I think with all the things we've gone through, it's really something that's necessary right now. So
Yeah.
so you mentioned earlier that you kind of got started during the pandemic, and I think that's one of the craziest times to ever get started. So,
Yeah.
what does the collection look like? What are some of your favorite models? I know you got a Jordan 1 picture in the back. You showed us a 6. I've seen some Air Max on you, but what does the collection look like?
My collection, I feel, is pretty diverse. I have anywhere from Sauconys to I've got some Air Maxes, lots of Air Maxes. Air Max 90, I have to say, is my favorite silhouette.
Yeah.
So comfortable to wear. I love that it comes in so many different colors. And I actually started collecting it the year of their 30th anniversary. So I was lucky enough to have a plethora to go and choose
Oh yeah,
from.
you had lots of choice.
Lots of Adidas 4D. I got a lot of those. I got some Yeezy boosts. I just pulled out a few around me, and like, let's move this over to the side a little bit. But like my 992 that I was able to get from Groovy downtown.
All right.
Those ones, I have to
good
say.
choice. Good choice.
I've been eyeing this shoe for such a long time. Literally walked in. It was the only one sitting on the shelf, and it was in my size. I'm like, pack it up. I'm not going to ask you anything else. Pack it up, and they went straight to feet. And yeah, love my New Balances as well.
Yeah, New Balance is on quite the renaissance. I already have an episode in the bank that's coming out on, call it the I won't share the title, but yeah, how New Balance has made such an impact now in the sneaker world outside Nike. We still know Nike and / Jordan is king, but the renaissance that we've seen now with New Balance and how many people are wearing it and how resellers are connecting with it is pretty. Oh, there you go. You got the sweater on. So
I got the sweater on too.
All right.
Yeah, like their designs and colorways and just the way their comfort, everything. Yes. I love everything about the New Balance.
Yeah, comfort is extremely important. So you said you started like less than 2 years ago. How big is the collection? You mentioned a lot of brands just now. Yeah, so how big is it?
Current to today, I counted, I'm at 92.
Whoa, that's putting in work.
Yeah. I have about 90. Thank you.
Bravo. Like, and this is a sneakerhead cheering on another sneakerhead. Yes, that is awesome.
I meant
hopefully you can afford it and you're not putting yourself in debt, but
yes, completely. I recently moved back in with my parents during the pandemic and everything. And my parents are like, what the hell are we gonna do with all these shoes? I'm like, don't worry. I'm like, I've got closet space. I literally have like towers on the side of like my bedroom.
Anyone that's been collecting for a couple of years, we all know about the shoe towers. Just careful when you pull one out of the middle.
I know. And I'm like, and they have to play like shoe tower Jenga. I was like, oh no, this box is a little bent. I gotta like go and like Jenga it up a little bit on the side. Totally. And now my son is now getting into sneakers too. He's loving it. So I try to get him like a matching pair of what I'm wearing most of the time. And so he even knows, like, if he sees like the tower, he's like, Mama, I got to go fix your tower a little bit. So he'll go and adjust it so it doesn't fall off. But yeah.
So. One day I hope to get my 6-year-old daughter on the same vein. She does like shoes. She definitely has an eye. She knows what she likes and doesn't like, but hopefully we'll get to a point that we get her a tower like Dad has several towers. So, all right. Yeah. So as we move on, you mentioned, earlier again, just some of the brands. So what have you been wearing as of late? That's always a curiosity with the listeners of the podcast.
Yeah. I noticed myself wearing a lot of Dunks and Jordan 1s lately, which I usually don't wear. I usually am wearing more of my New Balances or my Air Max 1s. So my Air Max 90s, but I've definitely been wearing my Dunks, and I did pull out, and I had, so Sean Collard had that, he had a Teacher Sneakers Week that he had the challenge going on. So that's what kind of got me back into actually starting posting on my page, because I hadn't posted in quite a while. And through that, he inspired me to pull out my custom Sabotages that I got, the limited edition ones. The one with the
angles. Very nice.
Less than 30 made in the world.
So tell us, how did you get it if there's only 30 in the world?
Yeah, less than 30 in the world. So Sabotage had an online raffle where if you bought their t-shirt, your name would go into raffle for the bread, or you can get the Royal.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky enough that my name was one of the 30 that popped up. And then I was able to get this that went in, did the ankle strap that Jordan wore. And I think it was like 85, 86 when he broke his foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then they replicated that and I got it in the Royal here. And
That
so I
is pretty amazing. 30 in the world and you got one.
I'm
So
30 in the world and I got one. So yeah, this is one of my pride possessions at the moment. I'm like,
oh, I'm sure. So that's a special occasion, probably wait till later, like not in the middle of snow. You're going to be wearing that one. You'll wear for either a frozen day when it's -20 and there's no liquid that can get on there, or you'll wait till spring when it's not going to rain. So
yeah, I actually wore them last week. I had to make sure the weather was perfect. That was my wild card that I wore to school. So that was the one that I ended up posting. It's the first time. I only wore them once.
okay, all right. At least it's got to be in the rotation to show the kids what you got at school, right? So
yeah.
So I think as you mentioned some of the things that you've been able to to buy, and your some of your interests in terms of Air Max 90s as an example, like that. If you didn't know, and I know you're kind of new to the sneaker, it's the official shoe of Toronto. We call it the Scarborough Man shoe. So
the Scarborough Man shoe.
There is so much passion about the Air Max 90, just as in Toronto as a city, like. And I think part of it is we have so many kids that go to a school that you have to wear a dress code. And if you can't get Air Force, you wear a 90. And then because of so many of the color reiterations that have happened, from infrared to some of the other great colors that have come out over time, and there was a great camel pack that's come out in the last 2 years. It's a shoe that Scarborough in particular, but really Toronto truly loves, like probably more so than any Air Max silhouette. And as Nike is king/queen, we call it the Scarborough Man shoe, Air Max 90. So if you didn't know, now you know.
Now I know.
There is a lot of passion behind that one.
I've always known the Air Max 90 to be like a UK shoe, like a UK trainer, because like I have cousins in the UK that also collect, and they're always like, oh, my Air Max 90s, my Air Max 90s. And like, that's more, I've seen it there. And then if once in a while I see somebody over here wearing a 90, I'm like, okay, they got a 90 on with the air bubble. And
yeah, I would tell you that the US doesn't love the Air Max 90 as much as here in Toronto. I don't even think other parts of Canada love the Air Max 90 as much as we love it here in Toronto. So anyways, lots of love for Air Max. So interesting. You talked that we've been talking about the Air Max 90. How do you feel about the Air Max 1 or the Air Max 97 or the Air Max 95? Like, do they kind of, is it the Air Max in general that you love, or is it truly just the 90?
It is the Air Max in general that I like, but the one thing I really liked about the 90 is just the color blocking that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that the comfort on it is completely different. I do like the Air Max 1, but I find it's a little bit narrow. I do have a little bit of a wider foot, so it's not as comfortable. Same with like Jordans, love them to death, but they're not the most comfortable to be wearing all the time. So that's why I revert to either like an Air Max, especially the Air Max 90, or a New Balance. I do have a few 97s and a few 95s in my collection as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's really interesting now is, and I would love your perspective as a woman and as an up and coming sneakerhead. I think obviously, there's obviously the pendulum right now is still pretty swung in favor of what they make for men, and there's not a lot of silhouettes. I had actually a great conversation with someone earlier today, and we were talking about what are some of the best shoes that they've made solely for a woman. Now, I know they make oversized ones, and some guys get them, but it's really coming a long way. Whether it's Anna Wintour and some of the collaborations they've done with Vogue, or there's just been other ones that have come out. There's been some great Jordan ones like the Blue Chill, or the satin shattered backboard, or the AMM Jordan 3, which is arguably the best shoe that they've made this year. But things are probably still not where they need to be in terms of diversity and making great silhouettes all the time for women. So what do you think needs to change? Like, do you think that there's a chance that we will get a better level playing field and more exclusive for women, or what do you think, what needs to change in the sneaker game to make things a little bit better for women?
Well, I hope so that things would change. Instead of just and just to offer them in smaller sizes. Because a lot of the time, me being at 8.5, I have to sometimes go down to a grade school size. And I'm noticing that the quality on it, the craftsmanship on it is not the same that you're going to get in a full size run shoe.
Yeah.
And so I think that if anything, instead of just doing women's exclusives, just having more of a variety and range in your sizes, and then don't have them really set for one sex or the other. It's just like, you like the shoe, you buy it, and these are the sizes that we're offering them in. Because then you have the same thing, that there are really dope shoes that come out in women exclusives, and now you're excluding the men who are like above a 13 women, and then they're not able to cop on those either. So I think definitely just keeping more of somewhere that creates space for anyone, regardless of what gender they identify with. You like the shoe, you buy the shoe.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going with some of these, these big. I don't think that the needle will move in 2021, but 2022, when I think that we got the big launch, whether it's a Jordan 11 launch or it's we have an OG color returning. I think that's where the opportunity is make the shoe in women's sizes and then make the shoe in men's sizes, and it's the same shoe. Like I wouldn't say you need to eliminate grade school, but when you really want to have a big release that you can get it in everyone's hand, I think that's the move forward. And I think we have so many great Melanie Asani and so many other people that are involved now in creating content. Melanie Asani is now working with Foot Locker and helping to create lines, and obviously collaborating with the Jordan brand, which is unprecedented times that we have right now in terms of really trying to move the needle forward for women. We just need more of it. We have some great athletes, both coaches and players, that are wearing stuff like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, but we need more. Just continue to swing the pendulum in the favor of women, because there's totally, I think the retailers see it. There's totally a trend now, and I think really women's sneakers have taken a foothold as part of the, not only just the sales for the businesses, but I think from a cultural standpoint, there's definitely an interest in what women wear and how they wear it and the styling. Because I think we see some of the reiterations of some shoes, and they look better on women than they do on dudes, and they might have been created for a guy. So hopefully we'll get there.
The buying power as well, right? Like we have the buying power in the position to go and be part of the community, show what we have, show our own style and our take on how that shoe would look and how we would style it.
Yeah, so I think we're on the right track. I think it's just going to take a little bit more time, and again, as we continue to give women and BIPOC and everyone else more of a voice, instead of having certain executives share what they have to say, I think we only will make the sneaker community that much better than it is right now. So we're on the right track. Call it, we're on the incline now, and we just need to continue to work on it. So I'll move to a segment that is sometimes a lot of fun, and I think sometimes there's also a serious debate that whether we love or hate a shoe. So I'm going to just throw out some random shoes that are out there, or or maybe that are on the way, and maybe you can tell me for you whether they're a cop or a pass. So first shoe I'll use is coming out in November or in December. It's kind of the shoe for the holiday season. It's the Jordan 11 Cool Gray. So it's that all gray, including a gray patent leather, clear bottom. I know I've had mine since like 2001, so my bottom is now yellow. But for you, is that a cop or is that a pass? It's a cop. Okay, all right. So and again, I said it's such a cool silhouette. If you don't have it, you probably need at some point that you need in the collection. But I know not everyone loves an 11.
And I don't have an 11 in my collection. So
okay.
Be a nice added bonus.
Perfect. So I know that we mentioned New Balance early, and one of the big trends is kind of their old school retro basketball shoe. There's a model called the 550. So it's like an all white shoe. It almost looks like an Air Force, but it's a New Balance shoe. So They've done all white, they've done navy blue, they've done green, they've done burgundy, they've done purple, and really it's just coloring the end and then a couple of the accents. So they have a really cool one coming out, 2 colors, orange. As you can see, I love orange. Orange is like my favorite color, but there's like a baby blue version that's coming out. Maybe you might have to Google
pull
it.
it up. I might have to pull it up because I haven't seen that one. Let me just put it up really quickly here.
Okay. So you just have to decide whether that would be a cop or a pass for you.
Let me take a look.
New Balance 550.
The New Balance 550. I think I'm gonna leave. Oh, actually, you know what? I do remember there was an ALD in that. I do like that one.
Yes.
I like the ALD one better than the blue one, I'm gonna say. But
okay.
So if I would go between the two, I'd get the ALD and pass on the blue one.
Perfect. Okay. So next up that I would go to. So I know that this launch has been all over the map. It's got pushed out a few times, but it's such a clean silhouette. So arguably, it's not my favorite, but one of my favorites, the Jordan 3. So it's coming in a deep red. They call it a cardinal red. It was supposed to come out this month. It's now coming out in January. What are your thoughts? Is it a cop or a pass for you?
I think I'm gonna do a pass on the Jordan 3. As much as it's nice, it's just not something that I'd be like, oh, I need to have that in my collection. Like if I get it, I get it. But I don't think for me that's a diehard something that I would need to get right now.
Okay. Yeah. And then I know you mentioned you had the New Balance 992. So there's several iterations of the New Balance 574, which is kind of like the OG classic. So not looking for a particular color. What do you think of the New Balance 574? And imagine if it came in your favorite colorway, like a black and gold that you talk about. Would that be a cop or a pass for you?
Oh, that would totally be a cop. That would totally be a cop. I love New Balances. I love their silhouettes. I love the comfort of them as well. And there's very similar to the 992s. I would totally take them.
Okay. So, and I guess I'll go with the last shoe. So it's more of call it the Boxing Day special. Now it's supposed to be out again this month. And that's been the story with Nike this year, that a launch is supposed to happen one day and then it gets pushed and then pushed. We had delivery issues, we have supply chain issues, but it will launch. So it's called, it's come out before, but in different colors. So this Jordan 4, it's called the Red Thunder 4. So it's an all black upper with like a red midsole.
I did that.
Yeah. What would that be for you? A cop or a pass?
Oh, that would totally be a cop for me.
Okay, totally be a cop. So
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the Jordan 1 Comfort Women that I just wore a few days ago, and I posted a picture of it, and I was like, oh, that'd be such a nice one to put in rotation with this one.
Okay. So I know we were, as we kind of are now just wrapping up, and I know that you said you started in the pandemic, which I still like. To me, it's like blowing my mind. Like, how is it that's when you started? When it was probably the most difficult thing. Like I used to get DMs every day and say, oh my gosh, did you try to get this? It's like, it's online only. I can't go to a store. It's sold out. Like it's sold out in 1 second. Like, how are we buying things? So, the last 19 or 20 months, however we've been in the pandemic, has been really hard to buy sneakers and create a collection. But somehow you created an amazing collection through the whole pandemic. So like, how do you done it? Where do you shop? Like, do you shop on Foot Locker? Do you shop on Nike? Do you go to like the boutiques and, you put yourself in raffles and then decide, you do it all? Okay.
Everything and then some. I'm in a couple of sneaker raffle groups as well. If we see one that we like, we're all entering for each other. I have friends that are looking out for me. I've actually, knock on wood, have been very lucky with the raffles. Adidas raffles, a few Nike raffles, Swoosh of the North. I'm constantly copying with them. Closet Inc. Groovy, I've won a few through them. So I've been lucky in that sense that I've been able to go and build my collection slowly that way. Cool. And then I've also been gifted quite a few as well, like making sneakerhead. As they're like, oh, I need to get you this one. You're into sneakers now. And my family knows I like sneakers. So then they're getting me gift cards and I'm like spending it. And
good stuff. Wow. So you're playing the field and you're just hitting. It's like, we need to take you. We can't go to Vegas without getting quarantined. So we'll take you to Niagara Falls and we'll just play the slots and we'll hit. And hopefully you have another run and be able to turn that into sneakers. So
Hopefully, let's see what happens.
Pretty amazing that that's how you built. So like, have you transitioned at all now that you've done so much online, but now that the pandemic has allowed people to go to stores and stuff are going on shelves the day that it launches, if it's not a crazy launch?
Actually just last month, I believe it was, I was downtown at Eaton Center, just walking through, went through Nordstrom by the Swoosh of the North, and I looked to my left, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? And they had the vapor waffles. They did it as a shock drop, and I was like,
wow,
I will go ahead and take one of those. So like I just have been lucky enough to walk into stores, and there happens to be a shock drop at Yorkdale's been a few, and
the new Nike store there.
There's
if you're around there at about 3:30, 4 o'clock, that's kind of when they happen. Like you'll see that they're rolling out the stanchions, and you should just hang around and see what happens.
Yeah. And also like resellers as well. There's a few that I've been able to get. Like, I don't mind paying resale, but it has to be reasonable. Like, I'm not going to be paying something like outrageously over retail. But that's another way. Like StockX, I've gotten a few from eBay with their authentication, local people as well that have won raffles, and through their stories, they're like, oh, I have like a size 7 men's. I'm like, okay, just DMing people and meeting people as well, because it's nice to get back out there and meet people. So
it's interesting that you, again, playing in the field and just like chasing what you want. And then clearly it's like, by the way, those the last one that you just showed us, that looks dead stock, so that's going to have to hit the feet, and the students are going to have to see that one, right? So
a lot of my stuff, unfortunately and fortunately, some of it is dead stock, because I haven't pandemic, we're not really going anywhere, and we're only and I'm like, and now we're only about like 50 somewhat days into school, so I've only worn like a few of my pairs right now, but every day I'm pulling out a different pair of shoes.
So we're gonna have to get you one of those sneaker bags, and that way you can carry your sneakers to school, and then there you go, you're already set, because the snow is coming, and you're not going to be able to wear those in the schoolyard. And
winter boots, I walk to school in, because I live right across my school that I teach. I walk to school in my boots, and I got my sneakers on the sides, and my kids are like, oh, what indoor shoes do you have today? And I'm like pulling them out, like, my indoor shoes cost a lot, but thank you.
Oh geez, that's what we call them, indoor shoes. And some people don't get it, like as an adult, like carrying another pair of shoes to go to work or to go somewhere else, it's just, they don't get it. And then they don't get you taking pictures of your shoes while they're on your feet, and sometimes it feels awkward, and then you just come to the realize, it's like, who cares? It just doesn't matter anymore. You want to do it, just do it.
Yeah, the teachers know now. They'll see me like around the school, like putting my like tripod on the side. I'm like, don't come in this hallway, I'm taking a picture. And they're like, oh, she's taking her sneaker picture again.
Totally awesome. I'm so loving that we're getting the sneaker perspective from a teacher. So hopefully one of these days, Sean is also on my podcast. I know we've talked lots, and I think if you follow him, I think as for those that don't know him, Scholar is he's on Instagram. Like, the world is cheering because of his post yesterday. If you didn't know,
yesterday's, I was
I almost cried. I almost cried because this guy is the biggest Jordan 2 fan I've ever met. And him and I have talked about the 2, because I say 2's underrated. I have like 8 colors of 2s. I have mellow 2s, I have OG 2s, I have black silver 2s, I have low 2s, and we've been going back and forth. We share pictures between one another, but his 2 collection is like, he has every 2 I've ever seen. So for those that don't know, there was an off-white 2 that came out, and because he is the biggest 2 fan there is, somehow Nike and Virgil Abloh got wind of this. They gifted him a pair, sent it to him, and it got, the box is autographed by Virgil. And we're going, like, people are going like, you got to be kidding.
And even the side of the shoe, did you see that they wrote his name, Sean?
They wrote his name on the
shoe,
so that's like a 1 of 1. So
I know, amazing.
But if anyone were to get that shoe, they gave it to the right person. So I think, you know, it's like the call it, I know some people refer to as the sneaker gods have blessed Sean.
Yes.
And I think we're all very, very happy for him. It's like it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And it's pretty awesome. So very interesting. Again, I think the last question I have before we wrap up is, so being new to the sneaker culture, like how do you feel that you're being, you know, accepted or embraced? Because I know sometimes, call it the OGs like myself, or kind of like don't let people in necessarily. It's like, oh well, what are you wearing? What do you got? Like, oh, what do you know? What do you know about
or do you
this?
even know what you're talking?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I know for some it's easy to break in, and they slowly kind of just work their way in. But how have you felt that you've been accepted, whether it's sneaker culture in general, or maybe even just from on the women's side? How do you feel that you've been able to connect with other sneakerheads? I know obviously you're buying from some of them, so that's kind of a way to make a connection. But how have you find that your experience so far in being in the sneaker world the last 2 years?
It's been amazing. I've actually only been in the sneaker world online since March of this past year.
Okay.
So I created my Instagram account in March, right before Air Max started, the Air Max 30 days. And so I was able to post everything. And from there, just sharing my collection, I started gaining followers, connecting with people, meeting amazing people who are right here in the city as well, sharing that connection. And so it's been amazing. Especially with Sean's teacher week that he had. I've been able to connect with so many different teachers around the world. And it's cool. They were like, oh, how was your lesson today? I'm like, mine was great. How was yours? What did you wear with your kids? Like, and it's so nice to just like have that connection with people over shoes. And me, myself being new to the game, I consider myself very new to the game. Learning about the story and the history behind the shoe is something that really fascinates me. And so I feel that when people are able to share with me the knowledge of why there's a shoe or what happened with the shoe, like that's what makes me fall in love with the silhouette or the story. Like that's what I'm in love with.
Totally. So I think that's pretty, it's refreshing to hear that that's the experience for someone that's just kind of getting in and understand. And I think if anything, you'll notice and you'll feel more attracted to shoes because of the story. I think that's how many of us, even many before me, there was a story there. You had to go stand in line, or Jordan did this in a certain shoe, or this was the first shoe that was created by Jordan 3 is a beloved shoe because Tinker Hatfield, which was the creator of the shoe, he is one of the most renowned sneaker designers ever, and he created the Jordan 3, which was a revolutionary shoe. It looked nothing like any other shoe, and the rest is history. So I think when you kind of get the story, it only kind of creates a story or perspective. Like I love the Mellow 2 because Carmelo Anthony is my favorite NBA player currently in the NBA, and I followed him since he was at Syracuse. And as soon as they made a baby blue and yellow with a predominantly white upper, and that was a Denver Nuggets color because that's who drafted him. It's like, I had to have it. It had to be part of my collection because that is a memory in time of his first couple years in the NBA. So
yeah, I love the stories behind it. Like with Hatfield, when they talked about the Air Max 90 and how he was inspired by a building, I think it was in Paris or something, and how all like the electrical and the water, everything was on the outside. He's like, I love the fact that you can see the mechanism on the outside, and created the window. I'm like, oh my God, like that's what your brain was thinking when you thought about creating the shoe. It's like, what?
These creators are on a whole new level. Like I don't know what inspires them. Sometimes it's a car. The Jordan 5 was designed after a fighter plane that was in World War II. So where they get their inspiration is totally beyond me, but keep making them. And, I think it all makes us in the sneaker world pretty happy. So Romessa, I think this was an amazing conversation. So thank you so much for your time. It was so much fun. We'll probably have to do it again. Hopefully you don't have another 96 pairs, but
no, I hope not. Maybe we're going to add to the collection. Now I'm thinking of like maybe this year I was only supposed to buy one more shoe a year. I was like, oh no, one more shoe a month. Like, I get another 20 or maybe 12 or whatever. That's fine. Maybe 2 shoes a month. End of last year, I only had 30. So it's only now November and I've collected 60.
Wow.
So
Enjoy. It's one of sneakers, the unknown language that you put them on your feet and they just do the talking for you. So again, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We definitely will have to continue to stay connected. This was a lot of fun. So maybe you can just share again how people can find you on Instagram. I'm sure there will be a couple new followers after this podcast gets shared.
Yeah, definitely. You can follow me at 5'6" sneaker chick. So it's the word 5, the number 6, and then sneaker chick.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks again, Romessa. Much appreciated. So everyone, another amazing episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. Really appreciate everyone listening. Again, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.